Hey everybody, Dave Neal here, stand-up comic, host of the Rush Hour podcast. Bonus weekend episode for you. It's all Taylor Swift, baby. The judge has denied Justin Baldoni's request to extend the discovery deadline. You're going to see articles from people saying the judge denies Taylor Swift from being deposed, which isn't the case, but I'm going to break down why people think that is so. The question now is, will Taylor budge? She claims she doesn't have any free time until October 20th. Now that the judge says, no, you can't move forward with an extension for discovery, will Taylor Swift say, you know what, I'll make a few hours of time? I mean, honestly, they'll fly to her. They'll be on her private jet burning fossil fuels. They'll do anything they can to get her deposition. Will it happen? That's the question. A lot of folks want to know, was this just a PR stunt by Wayfair, by Justin Baldoni and Brian Friedman? Chances are most likely not, although PR will come from just about every aspect of this case due to the nature of having celebrity and pop stars and whatnot. Well, we're going to break it all down. No ads. I got no ads for you today other than what YouTube throws at you. This is just an extra bonus episode. So if you enjoy extra content for free, mind you, please hit the like button and subscribe. I do want to thank you guys for all of the love you've given not just me, but the community this week. This was a tough week. Every week there's different struggles and hurdles, but this one specifically, there was, sort of boundaries that were crossed, worldly speaking, and as a content creator, as a stand-up comedian, as who I consider myself an activist for my causes, it is a scary time out there. Thank you for the support. Whenever you have to talk about an issue, people are triggered, they want to fight online, and I'm constantly reminded, and maybe it's through my own hope and gratitude, but I'm constantly reminded how awesome my audience is. For the most part, you put down the pitchforks, you don't fight with each other online. I know it happens, but just a friendly reminder out there, the best way to consume content, the best way to exist online is to not fight with strangers. It won't get you anywhere. You'll get a quick high. It's like eating a cookie, all right? Save it. You need vegetables. We got the vegetables for you. So this is the article that came out. No Taylor Swift deposition for Justin Baldoni. Judge rules ending day of legal drama for love story singer. This is not what the judge ruled. This is wrong. Obviously, Taylor Swift is so famous that if she's involved in a story, they're going to make sure they get their search engine optimization. We're doing the same dang thing, but we have to get with the facts. So this is what we're going to dive into. Just a friendly reminder out there, if you are looking for things to do on this Saturday night tonight, Dave Neal and Friends, a stand-up comedy show. I'm performing at a record shop and cafe. It is a small venue. We have like 10 tickets left, but it's a fun small room where we try new jokes. And if you've never seen stand-up comedy, it's a good place to start. No one's there to pick on you in the audience, but it's a really cool place to get up and close with some of the really most talented comics in the scene. So again, if you want tickets to that, I'll post a link, rushhourwithdave.com/calendar. And let's dive into this. So here is the letter. This is kind of, I think, the first time we've seen Taylor Swift's legal representation comment on, through the legal system here with regard to this deposition. So initially, Justin Baldoni sent a subpoena to Taylor Swift, or one of her companies, right, to be deposed. They withdrew that subpoena and said, we got all the information we need. Now, when it comes to trying to depose a pop star, obviously the pop star isn't going to want to be a part of it. Any amount of questions asked that are not favorable are going to get out there. They'll live online forever. It's just not good if you don't have to do it, if you're a neutral party. Well, here's what Taylor Swift's legal team has to say about Justin Baldoni claiming they are preparing to depose Taylor Swift. And by the way, the only information we've had about Taylor Swift getting deposed was that letter where Justin Baldoni's team asked the judge for an extension on discovery in order to fit in Taylor Swift on October 20th. Now, the naive soul that I am, I said, well, I don't understand why the judge would deny this. I mean, they're just asking for one specific thing, All the other discovery can come in, but this is just the date that they can get her. And the judge goes, no. So we'll get to that in a second. Here's what Taylor Swift's legal team had to say. Dear Judge, Venable represents Taylor Swift. I am writing in response to the letter from counsel for Wayfair delivered to the court yesterday, docket 757. As counsel for the parties know, since the inception of this matter, we have consistently maintained that my client has no material role in this action. Further, my client did not agree to a deposition, but if she is forced into a deposition, we advised, after first hearing about the deposition just 3 days ago, that her schedule would accommodate the time required during the week of October 20th if the parties were able to work out their disputes. We take no role in those disputes. Submitted, all the best, Taylor Swift's legal team. So this is interesting, and I do think there could be a scenario where this letter was purposefully prepared by Taylor Swift's side, and they didn't plan to depose her at all, as a way to legally say, we have nothing to do with this. And I say that because this letter specifically, I don't want to say it dunks on Blake Lively, but it really shows that Taylor Swift on the record is saying, I have nothing to do with this. Whereas Blake Lively said, through her promotions and through her private threats, that Taylor Swift is one of my dragons. She's there. She's helping me with casting, Isabella Ferreira. She's helping me with the wardrobe or whatever, the sparkle department. I don't know what Taylor Swift's probably she'd be good at props, right? She's always, Taylor Swift is the young female version of Willy Wonka, just stylistically wise. She's an innovator. She's a chocolatier, as it were. All right. You can tell I'm hungry. So anyhow, that was Taylor Swift's response. Let's table that. We'll get back to it. I wanted to share, again, our pal, who, by the way, I've never spoken to, but I consider her my friend, and I think you all do too, not actually Golden. Why won't she be my friend? Please. Can we be friends? I'll give you my phone number. Come to my stand-up show. I know where she lives. I won't dox you. I'll be in your state soon. I'm kidding. The judge has denied the extension, so no Taylor Swift deposition. Not exactly the case. Here's what Not Actually Golden has to say.
I'm seeing the videos start to go around about the judge's order, and I'm not picking on you at all. I've seen a bunch of people say this. The judge denied the extension. He did not speak as to whether Taylor Swift may be deposed. What he said was you can't wait until October 20th to depose her because that's after the close of discovery.
And of course, I think folks that wanted Taylor Swift to be deposed said, well, why didn't the judge just approve of this? Why couldn't he? And it's like, well, they strict timeline. The fact that they haven't had too many extensions so far. This thing starts in March 2026. Now, Baldoni's side might say, look, we literally had 5 questions we wanted to ask her. Can they do this through some sort of Zoom? Can we do a Zoom town hall where we get this thing done? How about this? What if Justin Baldoni buys the VIP meet and greet for Taylor Swift's next event, and then at the meet and greet, they just bring the little Constitution or Bible, and they say, do you swear to tell the truth? And she's like, okay, all right, there, that's just how it works. It doesn't matter where she gets deposed. I don't think so, as long as the frameworks, right? So just a thought, not really taking it seriously. Here's the actual response from the judge. Before the court are requests for extensions of the deadline to complete depositions filed by both plaintiff Blake Lively and the Wayfair parties. Lively's motion seeks a 10-day extension of the deadline to complete depositions from September 30th to October 10th for the purpose of preparing for and taking the depositions of defendants Steve Sarowitz, Jamie Heath, and Justin Baldoni. Lively asserts the extension is necessary because the Wayfair parties have belatedly produced large numbers of documents and have failed to produce others, and additional time is needed to review and receive those documents before completing the relevant depositions. The Wayfair parties have filed a response opposing Lively's request, seeking their own extension of the deposition deadline to the end of October for the purpose of scheduling the deposition of non-party T. Swift. The Wayfair parties contend their request extension is necessary because Swifties' pre-existing professional obligations now prevent her from being deposed within the current discovery window. A party must demonstrate good cause for the modification of a scheduling order. And so then they share the different case law that, why you should extend it versus why you shouldn't. Lively demonstrated good cause for her requested extension. The Wayfair parties have only recently produced certain additional responsive documents, nearly 80,000 pages in total. I thought it was 84,000, and have failed to produce others entirely, notwithstanding this court's order of August 27th, which required that those documents be produced by September 8th. Lively demonstrated due diligence in attempting to obtain these materials by, among other things, timely filing her omnibus motion to compel. The date set by the court for such motions. The Wayfair parties assert that when the parties agreed to deposition dates, Lively knew that additional documents would be forthcoming. But Lively did not know at that time, 1, when the court would rule on her omnibus motion to compel, 2, the responding deadline the court would set for the updated productions, 3, how voluminous the updated productions would be, and 4, that the Wayfair parties would fail to honor the court's orders regarding the timing of discovery. Lacking that knowledge, it was not unreasonable for Lively to agree to schedule the depositions on September 15, 18, 19, 21, and 22, especially given the September 30th deadline. Because Lively has been generally diligent and her request has not resulted from carelessness and an attorney's otherwise busy schedule or a change in litigation strategy, the request is granted. The Wayfair parties are directed to make defendants available for depositions within the extended window. The Wayfair parties have not similarly demonstrated good cause for their requested extensions. The only justification they have provided for the extension is their assertion that Swift's pre-existing professional obligations now prevent her from appearing for a deposition prior to October 20th. Importantly, however, the Wayfair parties have provided no discussion of when they began attempting to schedule the deposition. Discovery has been ongoing in this case for approximately 6 months. Yeah, but Taylor Swift was busy. She was getting engaged. She was on podcasts, The Wayfair parties previously requested Swift's deposition in May 2025, but ultimately withdrawing their subpoena. They have offered no evidence that they have served a renewed subpoena on Swift. Thus, at most, the Wayfair parties have demonstrated that scheduling the deposition now presents logistical difficulties. That does not answer the question of why the deposition could not have been conducted earlier. The clerk of court is respectfully directed to close dockets so ordered. So there it is. You have Blake winning when it comes to her extension and Baldoni losing when it comes to his. When you read the judge's explanation, you say, why the heck couldn't Justin Baldoni's side provided any receipts that would have shown they were trying to depose her earlier? Now, the truth of why would be A, because they didn't try to get her deposition earlier. B, they were incompetent and messed this up big time. Or C, which is a very reasonable thought, which is that Baldoni's side never intended to depose Taylor Swift in the first place. I know. Hold on, folks. Hold on, wrong button. I know, folks. Hold on. Get your tinfoil hats out. This is a conspiracy. What if Baldoni worked something out with Taylor Swift's lawyers and said, look, we really understand you want nothing to do with this case. We really believe you have nothing to offer. So let's get it on the record by me asking to depose you at a date that's outside the window. You responding saying, we really don't want to have to do this. We will, but we don't have to. We don't want to because we have nothing to deal with this. Nothing, is that, and we might have lawyers right now rolling in your little gavel, whatever, lawyer suits or whatever, your powdered wigs for the British friends out there. And you might say, Dave, this is the dumbest take in the world. That's absolutely not what's happening. I don't know. What do I know? So either way, but we do have now this record of Taylor Swift saying, I've got nothing to do with this, which definitely takes wind out of Blake Lively's metaphorical sails. Let's go to not actually Golden, what she has to say about this response here that this is normal and not a bombshell.
I know that everybody's all worked up because it's Taylor Swift, but it doesn't matter whether it's Taylor Swift or whether it's a witness who saw a car crash in a car accident case. It all works the same. And the thing that everybody needs to understand is that nobody in the history of the world who is not a party to a case has ever wanted their deposition taken.
I object, Your Honor. I love to talk, and there's been plenty of times where I've said, put me in, coach. I'll give you, but then again, the benefits that I would receive to being deposed in a case like this, which why would I be, would be, that I'm some narcissistic stand-up comedian who wants to, wear his merch shirt so he gets new subscribers. I mean, come on, So, but I do understand in most cases, people that don't have attachment issues wouldn't want to be deposed. But for those of us that were raised with parents that let us cry ourselves to sleep, maybe we do want the company and want to. I'm that guy that wants to go to the slow lane at Aldi's and talk to the cashier instead of self-scanning. I'm not a self-scanner. I want to look you in your eyes and ask you how your day was.
No one wants to be deposed.
I do.
It sucks. It takes time out of your schedule. You have lawyers, multiple lawyers usually, asking you questions. Nobody wants to do it. Nobody is offering to do it, including Taylor Swift. But there are people who say, hell no, you're going to have to find me and I'm going to fight this tooth and nail.
Like young Blake, the actress Isabel Ferrer.
And not give you dates and not cooperate and try to push this off and try to get out of it. And there are people who are like, if you subpoena me, then I'll show up because that's the right thing to do. And she is doing the latter. There is absolutely no argument that she does not have evidence relevant to this case. And the reason I know that is because Blake Lively listed her on her initial disclosures as a person with information relevant to the case.
But that's when Blake Lively thought that Taylor Swift was going to play ball.
So anyone who's saying that needs to stop. That argument has been done and dusted for a very long time.
I feel like I'm being scolded by the teacher. I'm sorry.
So there's multiple layers to this, okay? Taking someone's deposition has a lot of different purposes to it. And there are lots of different ways that can happen leading up to that. It can be that a party never talks to the person, never reaches out to them, never has any connection with them, and then they just show up with a process server with a subpoena for their deposition. That can happen. It can also happen that a party reaches out to that witness's lawyer and says, hey, we're going to want to depose your person. Are you willing to accept service?
And that's what I think happened here with Taylor Swift. There was a professional courtesy. Baldoni still hoping that he'll get tickets to her next show for his daughters. I get it. And saying, look, rather than fight this the legal hard way and get our lawyers fighting with each other, let's try to work something out. And I think something was worked out, although I don't know, like whatever happened to, them accusing Blake Lively of trying to extort Taylor Swift. How could they get that information out without deposing Taylor? Through receipts? Are there receipts that she has? Even if she has the receipts, wouldn't it be helpful for Baldoni's side to see them? So either there's just so many questions. Either they were full of shit with the extortion, but Taylor Swift never denied it, or it didn't lead to anything materially that's going to help them. If there was anything here that was going to help Blake Lively would be using it. We don't have anything there. So I do think Taylor has something to say in one way or another, because Taylor Swift was, I guess they didn't say it in the actual documents. I believe it was redacted, right? Or maybe they didn't say it at all. But Taylor Swift, it's assumed that Taylor Swift was the party that was at Blake Lively's house when Baldoni got yelled at by Ryan Reynolds. I want to know what Taylor Swift has to say about that.
What times are convenient for you and work for you, and then you draft the subpoena that way. That's kind of a friendly subpoena situation. There is another way that it can happen, which is that a party reaches out to a third-party witness and or their lawyer and says, hey, we think we'd like to depose you, but would you be willing to speak to us off the record, just telling us generally what you do and do not know?
Yeah.
And then we'll decide from that conversation whether deposing you is worth it. That can also happen. So we do not know what led up to this. Now, Wayfair didn't get a chance to give the judge their explanation for why they waited so long. He went ahead and ruled against them, which I'm not really sure why he did that. I think it's because he was already annoyed because they were so late with the documents that he's like, why are you guys so late with everything? Stop being so late. Maybe there's an explanation for it. I do not know. But, we don't know the posture of what led up to this. Obviously, the lively side of the story is they raised this issue back in May. We had this whole public kerfuffle, and then we haven't heard anything about it until 3 days ago. That may be the case on the lively side, but they have no idea what's going on the Wayfarer side.
True.
So I don't know whether these discussions have been going on for a while. It seems that Taylor Swift's lawyer said they just told us they want to depose her 3 days ago. That doesn't mean they haven't been talking. Maybe they haven't been, but maybe they have.
I'm telling you right now, I think there's way more to this story that benefits Baldoni. This might be a little bit of hopium that I'm snorting today on this good Saturday morning. I'm not really sure, but I believe they wouldn't be toying, dangling Taylor Swift's name in here for any reason other than they got something. But at some point, whatever they have, they're going to have to share it with Blake Lively's side, and we're going to get to know all of that. I could be completely delusional. I believe in Bigfoot. Don't trust me. I believe in the great American ape. What do I know? You know what I mean? The truth is out there. All right, that's it for me. Again, if you want to see me try some new jokes tonight in Nashville. I'm working on this new joke where you don't know if you're homophobic as a man until you're asked to put sunblock on your buddy's back. That's when you find out. I'm doing this new bit about how, God made our arms too short to get the back of our bodies. And he created skin cancer, and he's like, you decide which one you want, All right, that's what I tell you got to work these jokes out. So if you want to see that live and in the flesh, I'll be doing about a 20 to 30 minute set tonight in Nashville at that record shop. It's the Bluebird Cafe of stand-up comedy. I'll have the link to that show on my Instagram or comment section if you want to catch me live, catch me out here. All right, folks, be good this weekend. Share love. No fighting online. We'll see you. I'll be back Monday morning. We'll see you then. I'm Dave. This is The Rush.